bring a little, we all do bring a little something different to the table, but we love supporting each other and supporting each other as athletes. So with being part of Grit to Greatness, you'll see this, and we are going to actually, we are taking a suggestion, and there will be a calendar that you'll be able to access on our website that will give you information about the things that go on throughout the month as a team with Grit to Greatness. The first Tuesday of every month, we do have a team call where we all get together and we're able to share wins. We'll, talk about some initiatives that might be going on. There's sometimes space to answer questions if there's things that need to be addressed. So that's the first Tuesday of every month that you have with the Grit to Greatness team. And then on the third Tuesday of the month, we host a monthly webinar, and we have some pretty cool topics that get covered. We just talked about a platform velocity that we're rolling out this month, that again, our athletes are going to have some, first looks at. So the third rather Tuesday of the month, we'll have a webinar that is tri-specific, things that are relevant to our athletes. And then you'll also have the weekly newsletter that goes out that Coach April puts together and sends out each week, as well as our Facebook group, which has additional support. So I say this where I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed by, oh my God, there's this, there's that. Nothing is mandatory, right? Where we have these resources in place to support our team. And you'll see if you're able to make next month's team call that it really is a community, and we all are a pretty awesome group of athletes. So just wanted to run through that a little bit of what you can expect outside of the Limitless platform or the Limitless initiative as being part of Grit to Greatness. Does anyone have questions on that with the team? Cool. All right. Do we want to next jump into anything specific about the TriDot platform?
Oh, yeah, I guess if you guys feel good about the resources that you have, what about maybe just like what questions do you have about your training and your relationship to like where do you like feel, I guess, characterize your comfort with the program and with training? Like, we know some of this, some of you might be training for your first race, but some of you have been training for races in the past. Where are you on that scale? Maybe just you know, go around the room.
Cheryl, you want to kick it off?
Sure. I I like the structure of the workouts, and I like the fact that the zones that I'm assigned to now, we've been doing it now. It feels like for like 3 weeks. Like I feel like my brain and my body are wrapping around how this works, and I like the fact that the zones are assigned, and um I'm able to stay there and not like tonight I went for a run and I felt that what was assigned was perfect for me. That's the workouts kind of don't make me feel like there's this big expectation, and I'm not, I don't want to say, I guess I don't feel wiped out. I work full time, so I'm wiped out from that, but I was still able to finish my workout today and not have to like work extremely hard. It was just how I'm getting along with these zones and feeling comfortable with it. So I guess each day I kind of say, all right, I read it and I try to understand it, and I'm like, okay, let's try. And I've been happy afterwards for the most part so far.
I love that. Wait, I do want to just say I said this on one of the lives in the Limitless Facebook group, and it's almost like a dating period the first couple of weeks with the TriDot app, where
Mhm.
and even if any of you use Chat GPT, right? Sometimes if you just started using it, it doesn't know all the things about you. Where now my Chat GPT is like, hey, Coach Lauren, well, are we working on this or are we working on that? And it's like, I'm like, oh, this is kind of creepy, but it's the same thing with TriDot. It's you're like in the dating phase the first couple of weeks where it's understanding your training stress, your training load, how are you performing? You'll continue to do assessments, so it'll start to recalibrate based on that. So I love that that it's working for you and you're not feeling like completely torn down either from the volume, which is great. Carrie, you want to go next?
Sure. Sure. I'm I've got a few questions because I feel like I might have played with the how many workouts to do. Like I feel like I'm not I don't want to say it's easy because this week I'm exhausted because I did my time trial 5K today and I did my power thing, my bike on Monday. So I am very fatigued this week. But I feel like I'm used to my long runs being longer than 50 minutes. Because the first race I have coming up is a half marathon in the race X. So I'm just a little bit confused because I think I changed. I think I initially had 4 bikes a week and now I'm just doing 3. And like, I don't know how to organize that. But I also, full disclosure, last year was hell for me going through menopause. So I'm just coming back to training. And so I'm like honored, like I trust the system. Like it's okay if you're not working out as hard as you used to.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that's really common with people that come over to this platform. As a coach before this, having designed training to meet like half marathon, half Ironman distance races, coaches rely on obviously a starting point and guidelines in terms of like the amount of training stress that you actually need and recover for, and you need to recover from. And so when I came over and I saw the volume, because I was like, wait a minute. And so, I actually started recording the, like in parallel, like I would have athletes like on TriDot, but I would also be tracking them in training peaks just to see what the difference was and to see how like close it was to the actual like training stress that you need and how the recovery was going. I was shocked. It actually is it's really intuitive, and you'll if you'll hear this slogan because it's really a part of the methodology, and it's a reverse periodization. If you look at like the coaching methodology here, or the periodization model, and they call it fast before far and strong before long. So at this stage, you're doing a lot of work that's in a development cycle to like think about it as like dosing, which is the stress, and then the recovery.
Mhm.
And it's trying to do it in very precise zones. So it's able to do it more efficiently than the blunt instrument of high volume.
Right. So like my Garmin, which has been tracking me for decades or whatever,
Yeah.
like I've been unproductive now or
Yeah.
unproductive or maintaining up and
Yeah.
down for the last 3 weeks. So it's like what
'Cause-
like the ego, right? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
No,
I'm used
true,
to
right?
like productive.
Because you're increasing the training stress. And now you've deloaded a little bit.
Hmm.
But what it'll do is it might make you better prepared for those harder, like really high intensity sessions where you're going to get more
Yeah.
value, more stress that otherwise would have been unattainable.
Right.
If you're just, if you're in a stress saturation mode, you know,
Okay.
um,
Because even the metrics on TriDot, I don't know, there it's like sorry, the terminology is escaping me.
yeah,
Um, but when I was looking at the metrics, I've actually decreased. Like my power threshold went up on my bike, but my run has decreased.
since
in
since the last time
TriDot
you did a 5K?
is since the last whatever metrics are in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But when was the last time you did a 5K time trial compared to what you're going off of now?
It's been a while. Like, yeah, it's been a while. So my last race was like the fall, but I wasn't in TriDot. So yeah, I don't know where it's getting its information from.
So yeah, no, this is also an awesome question, and everyone's going to have this. So the starting point for TriDot, Coach Lauren said, like when she first introduced herself, ChatGPT didn't know a whole lot about her, right? And
Right.
then as she has used it, and as it's gotten to know her, it's gotten more refined and more personal to her. The starting point that where your zones were at the start, they're just an estimate based on some of the questions that you're answering in the profile coming in. The only way, and
Oh,
this
and I
is
think the
what,
history from Garmin was uploaded too.
okay, maybe, and that may be too, and maybe it's using some of that history. The the way that it objects, so for that for that cycle, that development cycle to really work, and for the dosing to really work, we were just talking a minute ago about like this the specific specificity being
Mhm.
tailored to the environment, the altitude, the temperature. Make sure that you're being efficient about dosing the right energy system, but it only works if the zones are right. And the only way that the zones get objectively right is if you do those assessments, like the one that you did today, that your 5K time trial.
Yeah.
Nice job, by the way, you know. Um, but now what it'll do is it'll look at that objective 3.1 mile assessment. It'll look at your heart rate during that period, your power, your pace during that period, and it will set your new, running zones based on that. And it even uses the temperature and humidity and the altitude where you did it in that algorithm to make
The
sure
time of
that
day.
your 5K time, versus someone at sea level, you know, they aren't the same, you know. It's adjusted for
Awesome.
that.
Yeah, I'm
So,
excited to see how it all changes and morphs and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Carrie, I would just add that I would say give at least 2 months of data entry and just learning you and extracting that information and then your consistency too. All of that is going to feed into closing that gap so that when you are consistent and doing those tests, because those assessments are going to come up every fourth week. And just like Rich talked about with the periodization, they're in that as part of your deload week. So you're testing with that strength that you've gained over those last 3 weeks to show that improvement. So getting that data into the system and letting it aggregate over time, you're going to close that gap, and you'll be very surprised at how quick that can happen with just continuing to do what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe a question we'll get to if there's time and if anybody wants to go into it is how to pace these efforts too. How
Mhm.
do you pace a swim test? How do you pace a 5K? How do you pace a 20-minute, hard, where you fall off the bike at the end, but not before,
Great question so far.
Keep them coming.
I guess I have a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that maybe Carrie's answered, like by her asking her question, maybe it's answered this one. But for instance, I noticed last night, I did a run last night, and the majority of the run was in zone 2. But it was telling me to run at a 8.55 to 11 minute kilometer pace, and it's just too slow. So am I right in thinking from listening to this that if I do the 5K time trial, this will adjust these things
Correct.
for me?
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you do the time trial and you input your new threshold history, it will absolutely adjust it. I've had people where it's like, once they do it, I'm like, oh, okay, now, now enjoy your runs. And you
Yeah.
might be like, dang, that was kind of sweet when it was, the before I did this. But if your paces are off and you have a higher level of fitness than what you're currently showing in your zones, and you do the test, you go, reasonably all out and finish strong, it will definitely see an uptick in your paces. Seen people where it has taken 2-3 minutes off, especially if you're going off of, like Coach Rich said, where you're just entering the questions. It's asking you some very generic questions if you don't already have a fitness test accessible. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
totally. Mhm.
Okay.
Alyssa,
That's
what
good.
what do you think you could do a 5K in right now if you were like fresh and you were going to go do it as hard as you could?
Fresh as hard as I could. I mean, I'm not that fast. Like probably 34 minutes, 33 minutes, something like that. It's pretty slow, but it's
Let me,
probably the
I'm going to
best.
change, I'm going to update I'm going to update your run zones based on that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that might help then as well.
Yeah, that'll tweak it
Excellent.
a little bit.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Now my second question is, I'm not like, how can I put this? Training plans for me feel quite overwhelming and complicated. And some of the sessions are very complex for me.
Sure. Okay.
Like some of the swimming, especially, like having to do so many sets in different paces and things like that, it just feels like a lot. And don't get me wrong, I understand the need for getting some speed work and maybe some technique and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff in. But I'm just wondering if there's a way to simplify the sessions a little bit, to still incorporate some of those elements, but also just making it less complicated.
Sure. Well,
Um,
I think the best,
it's
the
pushing
best,
through to my Garmin, and my Garmin's shouting at me all the time. So I'm not. It's not fun.
Oh.
yeah.
I've stopped pushing my swim workouts actually to my Garmin, because my Garmin is sometimes I'm like, what is wrong with you right now with my Garmin? So if you're able to remember the swim workout, it's funny. Somebody posted in Limitless last night or this morning getting frustrated about their swims. And I had commented on it because they were feeling like no matter what, even if they felt like they were doing it accurately, they were getting a 30. And it is one of those things that I find the swim for most people is the hardest one to get a grip on, with some of the workouts where you're like, 25 in zone one and you're doing like a set, like it can be a little all over the place. So, uh, Rich, you're sharing screen. I'm like, I thought it did something. Um, I would say maybe try also though, if you put write your workout on an index card, put it in a plastic Ziploc bag if you want to have it written out, and just do a little old school and don't rely on technology and see how it goes. But I know
Okay.
Rich is probably planning on sharing something with the screen that's up. So
Well, I'm actually going to try and offer you a pretty a practical solution here. I mean, hey, I'm reading this too, right? 400 at zone 2 with a 20-second rest, and then 300 descending from
Yeah.
zone 3 to zone 4 with paddles with 20-second rest, 4x200 at da 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 da. Right. I can understand. There are obviously reasons behind all of it. And there
I'm
is
sure. Yeah.
and there's a decipher code, like when you like, and one of these days, maybe what we'll do is and we can even do it later for those who want to stick around, do sort of the anatomy of a swim workout and what means what and what is descending and what is, build and what is this and what is that. Definitely happy to do that. Another way to simplify this for you, if you want to just chunk this down, talked about dosing in the different zones, right? Um, you know, if you know your zones, or you could just print them out so you can keep track of them while you're there. This is the goal. 19 minutes in zone 1, slower than a 2:02 pace. 26 minutes in, between, at that 1:59 pace. 8 minutes at the 1:54, 7 at the 1:49. I mean, if you wanted to chunk this down as 100s, you know, and like, okay, I'm going to do 100s. I do them at about, 2 minutes a pop. That means, I'm going to do 13 of them and be done with my zone 2. I'm going to do 4 of them in zone 3 and I'll be done with my zone 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's just all very new, so I guess even that feels like a lot. But yeah, I'll try and figure something out, I guess, because I don't want to just do the training at a steady pace. I do want to incorporate those intervals and those changes, and I know that it will improve my performance. It's just, yeah, it in the moment it feels complicated. So
Yeah.
The advice that I would offer for this, Alyssa, is if you are looking at this based on time versus nailing the the workout instructions, if you start focusing on just getting the time down as far as how much time you're there, and then I always appreciate when you focus on a warm up and just those drills. If you just get down that little bit first and then you start to build in the intensity, you'd be surprised how much faster you can learn how the workout breaks down if you just give yourself that grace period to learn first and then take it little by little. Um, Even just with that, hitting the duration and chunking it down, like Rich said, as far as like what's one thing that I can do right in this workout that will make this a little bit easier for me. Don't feel like you have to hit perfect scores or perfect sets. It's not, honestly, it's kind of impossible at times unless you really have this
yeah,
figured out, and that's totally okay. You're going to hit the objective of the workout. So that would be my challenge for you, is just thinking about this in the framework of, okay, if I know I have an hour swim and I can spend that first 10 to 20 minutes just focusing on my form and drills, you're going to be just fine. And then giving yourself maybe
okay,
one
because that's
thing.
kind of what I'm doing. That is
Yeah,
how I'm applying myself to this at the minute. It's like I'm trying to take the chunks out of it, and then like for instance, my Friday swim, I was in there for an hour because that was the duration of the swim.
hmm,
I did some warm up drills, and then I had chunks of time where it was like, okay, I want to do this 400 meters and try and keep a certain pace. And then
perfect.
I did 100 meters as fast as I could, right? So I did try and do that. But okay, so doing that isn't the worst thing in the world, I guess, is what I'm
No,
hearing.
you're on the path to mastery right there.
We'll
That's
see.
how you break this down, especially for us that didn't start swimming when we were kids.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Just being
Okay.
consistent and showing up in the pool is honestly that consistency of even just, doing something that's even a little less structured, but you're doing it. You're there and you're doing it with
But you're doing
intention.
it, yeah.
And you're doing it with intention, really working on the drills, like Coach April said. Those drills,
Yeah.
honestly, that's the best return on your time in any swim workout.
100% agree.
One of the greatest things about the pool school is that it's basically a 2-day drill session. It's-
Okay. Well,
Appreciate you
thanks
asking
for
that.
answering those ones. Yeah.
Andra from Denver, you want to anything? Any questions about the app or?
No, I think I'm still getting familiar with kind of how the app works, and um, it it makes sense to me because I'd done structure workouts before. I think I'd be pretty lost if I hadn't done structure workouts before. Um, but yeah, but I think just still kind of getting familiar with some things. And it's nice that I can, move things around with work schedules and things like that. So I wouldn't say I'm still kind of getting up on step here. I wouldn't say I'm hitting all the workouts just yet, but starting to kind of get back into a rhythm here.
Well, I love that you did your strength workout today too. That is so important.
Yeah,
You
yeah, for sure. And then it was hard to do the run after the strength workout.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, again, though, that's the consistency. That's the showing up.
Yeah, perfect.
And you've got my favorite workout tomorrow, 30-90s on the bike. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, nice. Well, I've been Zwifting a lot, so I got to figure out how to pull the workout into the Zwift format.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can push it to Zwift. When you open up the let me show you, this may be worth doing a little share here. All about the share.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Here is the here's that workout, 30-90s. This is kind of fun because they're just like such little short, very high intensity that they're not long enough for your heart rate to even come up, and there's a nice zone 1 recovery after each of those, and there's not too many of them, which is also kind of a bonus. But oh yeah, we're going to talk about how to push a workout. So on the app or on the laptop or on your laptop, you'll see there's a little hamburger menu up here, and if you click on that, it pops up this little menu, and you can push the workout to Wahoo, Garmin, or Zwift. The one thing that is always a good reminder is if you're doing this indoors, which most of us are doing this indoors, whether you're Denver or in Canada, or this time of year we're doing a lot of indoor training, and this is one that's really good indoors on a trainer. So it's marked indoors, but you can also and that's great, right? Because the temperature and humidity doesn't change. It's always presumed to be 70 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But especially for folks here in Denver, or at altitude, like I'm in Highlands Ranch, so we've got a lot of elevation change over here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look down here, it's got your elevation down here.
Mm-hmm.
If I click current, it's going to look up to my IP address, and it's going to go, where is the altitude where that dude is? And so it's just got a new altitude in here. It just adjusted behind the scenes the target zones because of that altitude change.
Interesting.
And now when you go to push it, it'll push it with those new targets.
Okay. Interesting. That's a good tool.
So that, again, one of those little nuances to make sure that like the training that you're doing is like in the right zone. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
good
I
luck.
haven't I need to spend more time with it and get my because I missed I was sick and I missed the week of the what do you call them, the FTPs. And I have FTP information from, like probably a month and a half ago. I got to figure out how to get that in, or maybe I just need to move those around and do the FTPs again, probably.
Yeah. You want to do, if you feel like you're ready to do the FTP, you could do that this weekend if you wanted to.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Just move it over there when you're ready. And
yeah, awesome.
Have you done a 20-minute FTP, or what kind of FTP test do you typically do?
Yeah, I usually do the 20-minute version. I haven't tried any of the other types, but the 20-minute version seems to work.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Do you do the 20-minute version on Zwift?
I wouldn't say I like any of the 20-minute versions.
Yeah.
But they serve a function, right?
They do. I agree.
Yeah, I have done it on Zwift before. And I've only done one on Zwift. But other times I've just done it, just, like when I had Training Peaks, I just did it, in that platform. But yeah, I usually just look at, I guess the last time I did it, I just pulled up the Zwift and did it that way. But I think that was before I figured out how the TriDot system was working. I don't think I had it connected up.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's a way to pull it over, like past information. I don't know if there's a way to pull it over or not, but I could just do another one.
Yeah. I
Probably,
think
probably more
that's-
accurate anyway.
Hmm.
Anyone else have other questions on the platform? I'm going to share one thing that's like a little tip that sometimes is unnoticed that might help you guys with your training on the platform, just so that way you guys can also think a little bit if anything comes up. But when you're looking at your week of workouts, something that might not be immediately obvious is that, and maybe it is, if it is, awesome, that each workout for the week is assigned a certain score, right? So it's 0 out of 7, 0 out of 60. If you're looking at your week, that is a good way to look at and say, what workouts this week are the most important for me to hit? So the higher the number, the higher the priority workout. Usually that will be your weekend brick. If you have a long bike ride session or your long run, you'll see low value on maybe a zone 2 heart rate run or a zone 2 bike ride. So I use that for myself, or if I'm, working with an athlete who has like a crazy schedule that week and they're like, I don't know how I'm going to possibly manage the training volume. And you're like, what is priority here? So an easy way, because we're all busy, right? I say none of us are, I don't think any of us are professional athletes getting paid to do triathlon yet, maybe. But if you're balancing family, work, exhaustion, and you're looking at your schedule, that's just a quick like bird's eye view to look at the workouts and go, okay, this is a workout that I really want to make sure that if I have to make any changes, this one stays on my schedule. And again, of course, the goal is we want to get 100, we want to do all the things, but I also know from being a human that life is life and things do come up. So just a little tip on, as you're looking at your week in a glance, what that number means and how it might help you, navigate your schedule.
How do we get those cute little, like I got a Pegasus today, I think. How do
Yeah.
we get more of those
Oh,
things?
nice. Cheryl's been getting some unicorns.
A
I
unicorn?
find that really motivating. How do we
Yeah.
do that?
So if you execute if you have 3 unicorns in a row, you get a Pegasus.
Ooh.
Oh, no, wait. No, it's well, yeah, it's Pegasus. Duh. That's what we named my bike Peggy the Pegasus because
That's cool.
I have a pink bike. But yeah, so executing 100. Oh, very nice. I know they're like, you can't help but being like, one of the things that gets me though is if I got like a 99, I'm like, what? How? But that's awesome. Yeah. Keep working for those unicorns. And a ponycorn is if you execute a perfect session, but it's a lower priority one. So you get a little cute little ponycorn.
And then the
Rich, do
swim,
you have a favorite?
well, the narwhal,
Yeah.
I've only gotten a few narwhals.
that's for a perfect swim workout.
Oh,
It's
those
called a
are very
narwhal because they've got a horn. They've got the
but they're the horn of the sea, the unicorn of the sea.
unicorn of the sea.
Rich, do you have a favorite tip or trick in TriDot that you want to share with the group?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one is obviously making sure that you're training at the right training zones.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of intention goes into making that capability available because it's so targeted. But then the rest of the rest of it is kind of up to you to kind of, then follow it. It's very easy, especially like, and I guess maybe this is the good tie into the second recommendation is those easy heart rate zone days. So this is, like Lauren just talked about how to see at a glance what the priority of the week is. And if you guys don't mind, I'll just share a future week here. Share my screen again. Guys, I like to share. Notice these haven't been assigned yet, but you'll see that when you get into the week, they will put points on these session XPs, and the higher the number, the higher the priorities we're just talking about. But also notice this little icon right here, a heart, a lightning bolt, and a clock. Heart, pace, so this is a workout that is going to be to heart rate. This is a workout that's going to be to power. This is a workout that's going to be to pace. So why that's important is that on these efforts here, like threshold intervals, say, it is the power target, it's the power number that you're like, if you want to get a unicorn, you want to be paying attention to, you really want to be paying attention to the power zone that you're in, and those power zones are specified down here, and the amount of time in those power zones here. If it is a pace, it is going to be, and it really doesn't care what the heart rate is, really. It wants to look for pace, so it's looking for you to be in the target pace, or at least accumulate the amount of minutes in these target pace zones that are updated when you did that quick little, indoor current or time of day update. And it'll look secondarily at heart rate, for example. But on the heart rate days, these are the ones that are going to be zone 2, and they're going to probably feel easy. They should feel easy. These are very intentional to help you make the adaptations of the higher intensity work that you've done and turn it into durability, turn it into distance, turn it into adaptation and getting stronger. The recovery, this is a kind of an active recovery, but a very aerobic building. And this aerobic pace, this heart rate pace, not that these other zones don't do it, but they do it at a much bigger cost, and they don't do it as efficiently. This is where you really develop your endurance. This is where you really develop your ability to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar for fuel. This is where you build capillary density, where you build mitochondrial density. And that is where, the more time you spend in here, the more your times will come down at faster paces as well. Was that more than a tip?
That was good.
Was that
No, I think
soapbox?
No, I think that was what I really wanted to get on here too, is just the understanding of what the objective of each workout is, because it can look intimidating to see power, pace, heart rate. But when you see the icon that's highlighted, then you know what to focus on. So you're not trying to hit all 3 perfectly. It's not possible. You're trying to hit that one icon. That's where you're getting your scores. That is where you're effectively the smart data that you're putting in. We don't want to just put trash in. We want to focus on the smart data to create the long-term plan, the long-term gains that we're going after. So excellent.
I have one more thing.
Yes.
On the pace, when you look at running pace, you're going to notice it's actually initials, GAP, which stands for grade adjusted pace. This is a new concept for a lot of people. So like, if you think about pace, like you got, like, I'm going to go run at a 10-minute pace, 10-minute mile pace. And good night, Alyssa. Great seeing you. Okay. Running at that 10-minute mile pace. Now, what happens when all of a sudden now it goes uphill and you're trying to hold that 10-minute pace? It's hard. Oh, my hand went up. I didn't mean to do that. Well, you're not running, you might be running at an 8-minute mile grade adjusted pace, even though you're only running 10-minute miles, but you're going uphill. So that's really what it's measuring you on is your grade adjusted pace. And it is actually deriving that from your Garmin watch or your device. And so if you were running the same pace, like a literal 10-minute pace, and now you're going uphill, it's going to show in your actual results that you had this time that was faster. So I suggest in your running profile, in your running data screens, update one of your data screens or add a data screen like your pace screen to include. And if you go to you go to pace and you go to you show me the different options of pace and you scroll through, there'll be lap pace, average pace, blah, blah, blah. There's also grade adjusted pace. Add grade adjusted pace. I like to have grade adjusted pace and actual pace side by side. So I can see, okay. And you'll notice it's a little bit of it takes a second or two for your Garmin to recognize that you've changed direction and you're going uphill or downhill, but it's just a good data metric to have available. You could go all night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, all good things must come to an end, I guess. You can lower my hand. Yes, that'd be fine. We are going to continue to have these. Yeah.
One
Yeah,
more
Karen.
quick question. Should I be like, how do I know how many activities I should be doing every week? Because if I went in and changed it, will it go back to will it change it automatically for me again, or should I change it back or forward or?
Yeah, no, good question. Are you just moving them around? Or are you deleting stuff off of there or what?
No, like originally it had me doing four bikes
Oh,
and 3
uh-huh.
runs, and I think I changed that. So I'm just
Oh,
wondering
gotcha.
what should it be at?
The recommendation, if you
Mhm.
are, a somewhat experienced athlete, you've been doing some training for a while, starting at 3 across the board.
3 across. Okay.
Yep, 3 across the board is really what is like it is designed for. Now there are exceptions, injury where you want to bring stuff down. New athlete, just starting out, you might want to bring some things down. Pro athlete, we might want to bump some things up, but that's somebody who is being able to come back after a strong training ride in the morning and take a nap from 9 to 11, and then go and do another training ride in the afternoon and take another nap, in the afternoon because that's their job.
Okay. Thank you. That's so I'll change that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something to Coach Lauren. I'll be watching Lake Placid Ironman this year.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'll see you up there. My nephew's doing it. He's the one that got me back into doing tries, and he's like, "Come do it with me." I'm like, "No, I'll come watch you, but I'll look for you."
Oh, sweet. I will definitely have to meet up. We'll have to meet up, get pictures and all the things because I
Absolutely.
love meeting people in person. So I always say expect a big hug, even if we've only
Oh,
met.
so nice. That's great.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, guys, have a great night. Please come to our follow-up sessions. We'll send out information with the links and the calendar and all of that soon.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Guys.
You too. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.